That's Jim O'Rear's Wacky World!
Welcome to Horseshoe Park and Fairy Trail in Cassadaga, Florida, where Mother Nature and Tinkerbell apparently got together and said, "You know what this swamp needs? Glitter and gnomes."
Right here at 490 Palmer Street, because, we can't have a mystical fairy trail without a very specific address, lies one of Florida's most whimsical little escapes. A place where grown adults can wander around in the woods pretending they're in Narnia, and nobody calls security. Now, Horseshoe Park is your classic Florida nature spot. Shady walking paths, picnic tables, some trees that look like they've seen a few too many seances, and of course, restrooms. Because even magical fairies respect a well-maintained bathroom. It's peaceful, quiet, and honestly, a nice place to meditate. Or, if you're like me, to see how long you can sit before the mosquitoes lift you off the bench like a carnival prize. But the real showstopper here is the fairy trail. Picture this: a woodland path covered in fairy houses, tiny gnome villages, hanging fairy wings, and enough whimsical decorations to make a Hallmark movie blush. It's like Etsy exploded in the forest. Each fairy house is handmade by local artists and volunteers. Because, of course it is. Some are built from wood, some from shells, and others from that one guy's leftover Home Depot scraps. Every house tells a story. And that story is usually, I had too much hot glue and not enough supervision. The trail dates back to 2012, the same year the world was supposed to end. Coincidence? I think not. But instead of an apocalypse, Cassadaga gave us tiny cottages for invisible winged creatures. Thanks, Florida. And if that's not enough enchantment for you, they added a labyrinth 7 years later. Because nothing says inner peace like getting lost in circles while you question all your life choices. But hey, it's art, right? For those spiritually attuned, the fairy trail is said to bring peace, healing, and maybe even enlightenment. For the rest of us, it's a great place to trip over tree roots while pretending we're being followed by woodland sprites. Seriously, walk slowly. The fairies here might be magical, but your ankles aren't. You'll find tiny tree houses hanging in branches, fairy doors hidden in trunks, and little troll villages that look like what happens when a craft store has a nervous breakdown. It's a whimsical mashup of art, nature, and the kind of imagination that only exists when adults are unsupervised. And if you're feeling the spiritual vibes, that's because you're in Cassadaga, America's psychic capital. So, while you're on the fairy trail, don't be surprised if someone offers to read your aura, or if a fairy tells you to buy more crystals. Just nod politely. You're in their world now. After your stroll, you can check out nearby attractions like the Spiritualist Camp, Seneca Park, or Colby Memorial Temple, because nothing pairs better with fairy sightings than a little casual spirit communication. Or, if that's too heavy, you can just hit downtown Cassadaga for coffee, crafts, and a conversation that will absolutely involve ghosts. So, whether you're an art lover, a nature enthusiast, or just someone looking for a magical spot to post on Instagram and pretend you're living your best fairy core life, Horseshoe Park and Fairy Trail have got you covered. And hey, if you do happen to see a real fairy, maybe ask it for a mosquito repellent spell. That's the kind of Florida magic we actually need.
All right, folks, if you enjoyed this little trip through Cassadaga's enchanted forest, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell me if you've visited Horseshoe Park, seen a fairy, or just have an emotional support gnome in your garden. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
Down rumors while I'm totally hooked. He's karate kicking logic right out the door and reviewing Jean-Claude like it's film folklore. Keyboard glitch drums crashing.